Our origins and hidden secret knowledge of our history will shed light in an insurmountable way. Allowing yourself to understand why, if we are eternal beings, do we not remember anything when we are born? This is an important question, and as such, all questions can be answered clearly and with intelligence and scientific understanding. One might come to realize that the eternal world is not such a fairy tale after all. When combined with your personal life experiences, as each individual has their own unique spiritual journey, one must simply have had at least one spiritual experience to relate to how Source works. Miracles, synchronicity of events, that feeling that what you just experienced could in no way have been random. This is all that is needed to understand the creation story of the Turaneusiam 2, the angelic human. Concluding my last video on the Turaneusiam 1 prototype that came from the Terranates, the series, and the positive Alanians, there is a special secret to the origins of the human being. After Earth was created 560 million years ago from the cataclysmic explosion that took place on Terra and HU to Dimension 5, and remanifesting as our solar system in the lower dimensional bands, there was a recovery rescue mission for the souls of Terra that met ill-timing to the catastrophic event. They had to be able to evolve back through the dimensions and time cycles where Terra originally came from, but unfortunately they were in a completely different harmonic universe. Who won? Thus came the plan to reinstitute the lost and fallen souls of Terra, as well as the portion of Terra's morphogenetic field that dropped in vibration, or you could even look at it as the portion of the Terran planet that exploded off the planet. From here came the fall of man, the covenant of Palaidor, the halls of Amenti, and the divine plan. The souls that fell in the cataclysm of Terra were ripped from their morphogenetic field and disengaged from their original soul matrices through which they needed to evolve through in order to pass out of the time matrix and dimensionalized systems. They were stuck in time. Just prior to the cataclysm, the series, Terranates and Lumians of Mu devised a plan. The Terranates were skilled at time portal mechanics and interdimensional portal travel, coming from their own essence, DNA, natural skills and gifts, and creation. The series created a plan that the Terranates would fulfill. With the assistance of the Syrian Council, Elohim, and HU to Pleiadians, the Terranates formed an agreement with several other humanist races called the Covenant of Palaidor. Through this covenant, a rescue mission for the souls of Terra was set in place. Everyone involved in the agreement were the Syrians, Pleiadians, Terranates, Elohim, Lyrans, Ceres, Lumians, and Elanians. All became known as the Palaidorians and would have to work with and through the HU5 Brno Rishi beings of pure consciousness and an entity gestalt known as Ra, or the Ra Confederacy, in order to succeed. From the Ra Confederacy came for entity gestalts known as the Azurites, Atna, Ammonites, and the Bride Jidit and the Zar Confederacy. The Terranates time traveled to Earth right after the Terran cataclysm and transmuted their body forms into pure consciousness Kalantic science, and merged into a Gestalt energy field which served as the morphogenetic field or the 12-strand DNA Turaneusiam race prototype. They became the sphere of Amenti, the original soul matrix which held the Kalantic time codes of the time-space location of Terra right before the cataclysm. The souls of Terra, who now were soul fragments in a lower density and dimension, would have to pick up the soul matrix codes from the sphere of Amenti after living a life, and which then turned into many lives in order to ascend and go back to Terra to a point in time right after the cataclysm. The Terranates created a time bridge for the soul rescue mission. It is this sphere which would be implanted into the core of Earth that would become the hulls of Amenti, stargates for Terran souls evolving back to go through and pick up their original identity and codes for them to ascend and return to evolving in higher dimensions.